Hi, this is Usha Pandit, your Mindsprings English teacher. Today we are going to do a small part of verbs. Verbs is a really big unit, so we have to do it little by little. So I'm going to teach you how to read a tense. There are 16 tenses, okay, in English. And it's really hard to remember all of them. So people get confused if you say present perfect and past perfect continuous and passive past and things like that. It's impossible to remember all those tenses, and you shouldn't even try to learn them. Okay, I'm going to show you a very neat trick by which you will be able to read the tense from the sentence itself. So let's look at the tenses. It's basically divided like this. So I put a table for you. You've got the simple tenses there, simple present, simple past, simple future, and simple passive. Okay. Similarly, you've got continuous, present continuous, past continuous, future continuous, passive continuous. And then you've got present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, passive perfect, and then present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, future perfect continuous, passive perfect continuous. Just saying that is confusing me. So I can imagine people trying to learn it, how hard it must be. Let me talk about something very, very simple. So your simple tenses are very easy. This is something that we learn when we are in the primary classes, and we never really forget it. It's easy, simple. You've got present, I take, I took, I will take. Everyone knows that. So there's no issue there at all. I'm going to come to the passive tenses last. Now your continuous tense is where you are continuing with the action. So is taking, was taking, and will be taking. What have we done now? We've added an ing word. Why have we added ing? Because it's continuous. Taking obviously means ing. It's in the act of continuing act. So therefore is taking, was taking, will be taking. That's a simple one also. If you just remember the ing that is added there. The perfect tense has got this has, had, and will have, and you have the past participle. So she has taken, she had taken, she will have taken. These are your perfect tenses. Perfect, the action there is completed, taken, has taken, finished, already over. Here it is continuing. So therefore has taken, had taken, and will have taken, future perfect. Then you have the perfect continuous tenses, have been taking. So they, because it's they, we have changed it to have. If it was she, it would still be she has been taking. They had been taking, so past there, had been taking, and they will have been taking. What have we done? You've got the continuous here in ing, and you've got the perfect there in has. You've got has taken, that has become has, have been. Okay, why have? Because it's a they. If it was she, it would have been she has been taking. Okay, that's only the subject verb agreement. I'm just trying to show you different ways in which, otherwise you'll think it's always has taken and you'll start looking out for the has. So has will change to have if there is an agreement. If it's plural, they is plural, it will become have. If it's singular, it will remain has. But in both your continuous tenses, please note you've got ing, ing. So this is one of those things that you need to remember, that in a continuous tense you will have your ing ending in the main verb. Take is the main verb. You know, these big ones are what we call compound verbs. That is, there are more than one word to make that verb. I take, one word. I took, one word. The verb is just one single word. But everything else you will notice has got more than one word. So it's made up of, what is it made up of? You've got the main verb, which is to take. That has been done as taking, taking, and taken. Right? The main verb must be present. And then you've got all these auxiliaries that are very, very confusing. Okay. So this is how this is structured. And then in the future it will be they will have been taking. It just becomes longer and more confusing. So okay, let's come to this. So I'm not even going to try and explain this to you. I'm just going to look at this now and show you how you can differentiate between active and passive. In this one, she has taken her salary. Suppose we say she has taken her salary. Who is the doer of the action? She. And she is sitting in the place of the subject. So it's active. She is an active doer of the action. Her rightful place is in the beginning of the sentence because she is the doer. She comes before the verb. So she dances, she sings, she acts, she takes, all she is the doer. Remember, the verb is a doing word, and for a doing word you need a doer. So you need somebody in the subject position. What is the subject position? When you actively do something. The doer, if there is something done, then it needs a doer, doesn't it? So it needs a subject. Now in a passive voice, what happens? The doer comes at the end. And what is done comes in the beginning. So she took her salary. She is the subject, she is the doer, she is number one, beginning of the sentence. But if you say her salary was taken by her, then what has happened? Now you put her last and you put the salary up there. So the subject place you have put the, not the doer, but the object has come into the subject place. That is when we call it passive. What does the word passive mean? Passive means not doing anything. Is the salary doing anything? No, it's sitting on the table. So it's passive. Who is the person actually going and putting her hand forward and taking it? She. I want you to see the difference between active. In the active sentences, the doer of the action is active. In the passive sentences, the subject, the important position, is taken away by the passive subject. Not doing anything, just waiting there. The cat killed the rat. Who is the doer? The cat. The rat just got killed, poor thing. It was sitting there and got killed. See? But when you give the rat the prime position and say the rat was killed by the cat, then the passive, the thing that is just sitting there doing nothing, gets the most important position, which is the subject position in the sentence, and we call it a passive sentence. Okay? So when you understand the word passive, you will understand it very clearly. Active and passive. Just remember this. The doer is the active, and there the passive one has taken the, usurped the position of the doer, taken away that position and sat there in the subject place. So it becomes a passive subject. Great. So if you understand this, also remember there is this by. Okay? A passive sentence will always have by. Why? Because the doer is sitting after the by the cat. But very often in a passive sentence, you will just say the rat was killed, full stop. Why is that? Because the most important thing is what happened. It is not who did it, it is what happened. What happened? The rat was killed. Most important thing. It could have been killed by a car, it could have been killed by a storm, it could have been killed by a pesticide, or it could have been killed by a cat. It doesn't matter. The most important thing in a passive voice is what happened. The most important thing in an active voice is who did it. That's the difference. Okay? So always look for the by. Even if the by is not there, if you say the rat was killed, you put the by and see if you can continue the sentence. If you can continue that sentence, it means it's a passive sentence. It's very, very simple to identify passive sentences. Remember the agent by. Okay? So that's your, so you will always find a past participle there will be taken, has been killed, has been found, had been found. You'll always be able to put a by. Has been found by whom? By the police. Has been taken by whom? By mother. So you'll always be able to put a by in a passive sentence and you'll know it's a passive verb. So differentiate between the active and passive verbs before you start identifying what the tense is. Now I'm going to show you a very simple way of how to name the tense without actually memorizing anything. Okay? So pay attention. Let's read this tense. I will be going to the mall. So first of all, you need to underline the tense. I'm going to say will be going. That's the tense. Now you take this tense and you start asking, what is it? Is it present, past or future? You just ask that. Now the minute you see this will be, you know it's future. What is ing? Continuous. So what is the tense? Future continuous. It's sitting in the tense. You don't have to remember anything. Will be is the future and ing is the continuous. Let's look at this another sentence. Now here the verb is has found. What is has? Let's say it's present. Isn't it? Has is present. Have I written it correct? Present. What is found? Now you'll say it's past. No problem. You say present past. Now we can't say present past. Whenever you get a strange thing with past at the end, make it perfect. So it will become perfect. So it's not present past sentence, it is a present perfect sentence and it's correct. So if you read it like that, you will be absolutely fine. Let's look at another one. Had been. What is this? Past. You just ask, is it past or present or future? Past. What is been? Just say been. What is been? Been. Already past. We can't say past past. What should we write? Past perfect. Correct. See? Let's look at another one. Mala saw a huge insect. Past. Past tense, simple past tense. Has been taking. Let's look at this one. Has, present. Been, past. Taking, ing, continuous. Now I can't say present past continuous. What do I say? I cut this and make it perfect. Present perfect continuous. It's already sitting in the sentence. You don't have to remember it at all. I will have been cooking a meal then. Will have, future continuous. See ing. Been, past. Can I say future past continuous? Future perfect continuous. What is the only thing to remember here is when you get this past as your second part that you have to put, instead of saying past, you say perfect. That's all. That's all you have to remember. And your tenses are done. Let's look at the last one. The thief is being taken to jail. Now, if you apply the same rule, what will you say? You will say present, continuous, past. Nonsense, isn't it? Present, continuous, past. How can you have present, continuous, past? Even if I say present, continuous, perfect, does it make sense? Do we have a tense like that? No. You should be alert and you should say, let's see if it's a passive voice. So let me put a by there. Can I continue the sentence? The thief is being taken to jail by the police. It's a passive sentence. So what is this verb now? It's a passive verb. The passive verb also has a tense. But I am not going to teach you the passive tense today. For today, It is good if you can identify the passive sentence and say that's a passive sentence. But if you can do this with any sentence that you can find, if you can start naming the tenses the way I taught you, I think you would have done yourself a big favor. So there are 16 tenses, 12 tenses are active and 4 are passive. You will find here I put a cross because this perfect continuous tense in the future, you cannot make it. It will be very clumsy if you try to make that tense. So it's really very simple. You do it little bits at a time. And do buy the book. It comes from this Grammar with Ease, which is my book. You will find it in the descriptions if you go, and if you click on the link, it will take you to our website and you can buy that book. It's simple grammar for people who are beginning or for primary students, but it will very simply give you some of these rules that I am talking about. Very often when you do too much grammar together, you will only get more confused. Okay, so we'll do it bit by bit and I'm sure you'll understand brilliantly. So do subscribe to our channel, and if you have any queries, put them in the comments box. So thank you very much for listening. See you again.